Dead Man Down, Niels Arden Oplev and Noomi Rapace, who obviously, from the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, come together for this sort of straggly New York gangland tale, come romance, come revenge thriller, come strange film about family cooking. So, Colin Farrell is a mobster working apparently for Terrence Howard. But he has a secretive past. Noomi Rapace is his neighbour, who they sort of look at each other across this divide from their balconies. She sees him doing something very criminal, and she then says to him, "I want you to get revenge on the drunk driver who caused an accident that I was involved in some time ago. So, and if you don't do this, I will go to the police." Then evolves between them a sort of strange, edgy relationship in which you're never quite sure who exactly wants what from whom, but they do start to sort of find some kind of, some proper relationship. In the middle of it, there is this strange thing, which is that she's living with her mother, Isabelle Huppert, who is hearing impaired and has a thing about baking and a thing about cooking and a thing about Tupperware. And there are some very, very strange scenes. I mean, actually very nicely observed scenes.
In a MasterChef kind of way?
No, not in a MasterChef way, but in a kind of, the way observing the rituals of family troubles, and the ways in which, parents can sort of, lean on their children. And the interesting thing about the film is that I think that essentially the movie company want to sell it as a great big action thriller, when the clips that they sent us were all just explosions and, things going bang and lots of cars running around and action and all that sort of stuff. And there is indeed some of that stuff in it. That's the least interesting part of the film. The most interesting part of the film are the scenes between the mother and the daughter, the scenes in which she's sort of, pushing her daughter to get back out into them, because the whole thing is that as a result of this car crash, she has scars which have, changed the way that she feels about herself and about her life. And she used to be working at beauticians. And there are these lovely incidental details when she's in the beauty shop, the way people do or don't relate to her, the question about what her relationship with Colin Farrell's character is, this sort of, all this stuff is interesting. The action adventure stuff is much less interesting, and yet they're trying to sell it as an action adventure film. And in that respect, it's just terribly generic and a little bit ordinary. So it's a weird thing, because it's a film that pulls in several different directions, and the one which is the least interesting direction is the way they want to sell it to you. And actually, what you think is, well, that's fine, but that's not really the movie that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the other movie, the movie which he appears to have made, but in which you're not very interested. So the whole thing ends up being, strangely unsatisfactory in some respects, and in other respects, oddly interesting. I like the oddly interesting stuff. I'm just bored by the generic action stuff.